Well, we are getting to the home stretch of the regular season before the playoff fun begins, and we've got a lot to talk about on today's show. Notably, the attendance spike, the attendance jump from this year to previous years. Some good attendance news, if you can believe it or not.
Yes, we're starting off with good news on a Tuesday, and we get to hear it from you. So let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other podcasting platforms, be it Spotify, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, if that's still a thing, wherever. However, we appreciate it. You can also find us on the social medias, X and Instagram, and email us anytime. We do have iterations on doing a mailbag episode this week. So get those in if you so choose, lockedonrays@gmail.com. So this was something that we didn't have time to dive into yesterday, but figured we'd go ahead and mention it and throw it out there. The Rays are out of home games for the rest of the season, so we know what the final attendance numbers and figures are, or what I guess the announced official attendance figures are. This year, the Rays drew roughly 1.44 million fans, which breaks down to 17,781 butts in the seats per game. That is quite a sizable jump from last year. We're talking 25-30% jump from last year, where they drew roughly 1.13 million fans and an average of 13,927. So really, all told, they were drawing about, on average, 4,000 more fans per game this year than last year. Ulises, first off, I mean, obviously this is good, upbeat news, but do you have any guess or opinion on why such a big jump from this year, from last year, and the year before too, where it was just quite dreadful in 2021? Of course, you had the whole COVID mess that we were trying to get out of. But I think as we moved into 2022, 2023, and beyond, we're starting to get away from that a little bit, fortunately.
Well, guess what? I'm going to give you two words. And if you're a Locked On Race listener / watcher, you're going to know these two words. Pie chart. Okay.
There we go.
Here we go with the pie chart. Look, I think $10 tickets helped a lot. More promotion in advertisement and marketing. I mean, you go to channel side and you actually see Rays players' faces and saying, let's go Rays. You go to Ebor, there are some Rays stuff. Not as many, but there are. You go on the bridge, there's big billboards, 275. There are a few. So you can see that there was some thought behind it. Like, hey, why don't we market the thing that we're trying to sell?
Right. No, I think that was huge for sure. That is something I noticed a little bit more, particularly the promotion of Wander Franco and then the deactivation of that promotion. But in general, it did seem like they did invest much more in those highway, byway billboards, which I think have a very, very major impact. And you really hit on a good point. The giveaways, I think, were tremendous this year, from the Wander Franco bat to the Shane McClanahan bobblehead to the 25th anniversary pomp and circumstance, the items and some of the other promotions that they had surrounding that, the Randy soccer jersey. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff this year. The reversible bucket hat. I think you got a handful of promotions this year, one way or the other. The figurine, the Aki Iwamura figurine, brought to you by Dex Imaging. Thank you very much. So there was a lot of good to go around with all that, and the $10 tickets. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but uh, that was available, or that was an option for just about every home game.
Yeah.
And then they had the, the all games ticket pass for $49 a month, $250 for the full season. And I think the in-game experience, the in-game acoustics seem to be bumped up a little bit more. Whoever's idea it was to uh, develop the Randy Land ploy, I think really, really worked wonders for, hey, this is a hangout spot. This is a vibe. This is something where you're not going to go to the Trop and it's going to be quiet and there's going to be no energy. There's going to be some hype surrounding this team and this game. And I mean, there's other seating options if you want a little bit more peace and quiet, but if you really want to ingrain yourself into something special, there's your opportunity.
Yeah, no, the Randy Land thing, whoever came up with that, or maybe it wasn't just one person, but it was a couple, fantastic job there. That was perfect. I hope that it keeps going. And not only I mean, the sound still is not optimal, but yes, it did seem to have an improvement. And also the screens. They did increase in size. It did increase in quality. You didn't have to, struggle kind of like, hey, what is that? You actually had more information. You have the vertical break, the horizontal break on the left field screen by the I'm blanking on it, the TBT deck.
Okay.
Is it called a TBT deck still?
I don't know if it's been changed. I would think eventually.
If I call it a TBT deck, that kind of just tells you, or the party deck, how old you are, if it has a new name. No, but the whole thing, I mean, unveiling the statues, I did hear a lot of people kind of upset that wasn't marketed enough. I mean, we knew about it, but I guess, you really should have heard it a little bit more, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, no, overall, the marketing, the promotions, the advertisement, the ticket options, and let's not forget the most important part of this whole thing.
Concessions. Concessions there were some good options there with
but like when have
$5 bottled water and Bud Light and hot dogs, popcorn, peanuts, and so forth.
That's great. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is good. That is good. But the most important factor of it all, I believe, is what are you putting out on the field? If that team goes 0 for 13, it ain't the same as 13-0. It ain't the same as like everybody talking about you, even SportsCenter, even ESPN, that they don't care about baseball and they're like at least like mentioning you. You're passing teams that you had never even heard of, and you're a baseball nerd, like the New York Gothams.
Yeah.
What? Bruce Wayne was the GM? What's going on here? So that fueled the fire to having a really good attendance, and you're also starting with the fact that they were they hadn't suffered a defeat
right
at Tropicana Field in the beginning of the year. So like that makes you go. So like a lot of all these things make up that very beautiful pie chart.
Yeah. We started to see bits and pieces of, okay, it does seem like the word out on the street is the Rays are going to find a way to stick around long term in Tampa Bay. So I think that maybe brought some people back around. But yeah, on the field, it also helps when you have a guy named Wander. It also helps when you have a guy named Shane McClanahan. It helps when you have a guy named Randy Arozarena who does what he does in the World Baseball Classic. And I think there's probably a bleed over effect where you maybe have, more casual baseball sports fans. Maybe were never a Rays fan, but maybe they're a fan of Team Mexico, fan of Team Randy, and they want to catch it all there. So there's the opportunity with all that. And I think a little, credit and kudos to Rob Manfred with some of the rules changes, making the games a little bit more enjoyable and swift and more action packed, if you will. I think that brought a little bit something special, and we started to see what could and would become with spring training, where it was like, man, these spring training games are wrapping up pretty quickly. So
what about start time, Kev?
Yeah, start time as well.
6:40 p.m. makes maybe people, I know some people that are in Lakeland and in Orlando might be like, dude, there's no way I can get here on time. Or like, I would have to like take PTO in order to get here on time.
Right.
But I do think 6:40 does help most people to realize, hey, I'm not going to have to go back at home at like 11 p.m., 12 p.m.
Yeah, that is fair. So I'll be curious to see what the attendance is next year. I'm praying, I'm pleading. Let's get over the 2-0 or get to the 2-0-0-0-0 mark in average fan attendance. I'd love to get back to that juncture. That would be really nice.
What's the maximum attendance right now with the upper deck seal? 25 or 26,000? Do you know?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
If it's, let's say it's 26,000. So you're telling me that you want the Trop to be at a 77% clip filled on average.
When you make the playoffs 5 years running and 9 years and 16 tries, and you've your ownership group has guaranteed that they're going to spend $700 million plus cost overruns on a new ballpark, maybe that draws some more people into the game. Although I think there could be a little bit of a detractor effect as the construction gets going. I've sort of made it known that I don't know if I really want to be anywhere near the St. Petersburg area or near the Tropicana Field construction site area, the redevelopment area, because unless they've got, I know they have very smart people working on the project, but sounds like a mess to me. So
we'll see.
Maybe I really, carve out, okay, I'll go to a game on a Saturday or a Friday, but the weekday game thing, the Sunday game thing might be a little bit out of the question. But at the end of the day, you should go support this franchise for sure. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you this. Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. This is called deep sales, and we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So here's what you need to do, okay? Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started today. All right, Ulises, we put a request out to our listenership and watchership last week. We threw out a couple questions in regards to the new stadium developments, and these questions were, if I recall, they went like this. One, what should the name, or what do you think the name of the new ballpark will be, i.e. who will be the big ticket sponsor to go along with the park? If I had to guess, it probably won't be Tropicana anymore, but you never know. So we put that out there, and then we also posited if or any Rays player will be on the 40-man roster, or that's on the 40-man roster now, will be still on the roster when the new stadium officially opens up in 2028. So we're looking at 24, 25, 26, 27, going into 28. Is anybody on the 40-man roster still in the Rays organization during that lengthy time frame? And we got some really good comments and discussion with that.
Yes, we did. We had plenty of comments. I'm going to start with one that decided not to answer either question, but I really liked what they said. It's
Did a redirect?
Yeah.
That's what you do when you deal with the media. They ask you one question and you don't answer that question. You redirect to some other topic
that
without giving any insight or details into what they asked originally.
Giuseppe LaRocca might be a politician, maybe. I don't know. But he says, crazy to think that this saga has been going on for nearly 2 decades. I'm going to miss the Trop. So many memories there. So I wanted to say, okay, I wanted to ask, okay, so what will you miss most about the Trop? And Giuseppe goes, it's not a particular thing or place. I'd say it's just overall how many times I have been there, from a 10-year-old boy all the way up to being 35. From getting blown out to winning playoff games, birthdays spent there, dates with my girlfriend, scrapping together change to attend games in my college days. Also, in a way, I feel like the Trop sums up the Rays' identity. We're almost always the underdog, overlooked team in a not-so-pretty stadium. We don't have all the bells and whistles like the Yankees or Red Sox and many others. Yes, I'm excited for a new stadium, but at the same time, somewhat nostalgic for the Trop. Really sorry for my long form answer. Thank you and be well. Of course, go Rays.
Love it. Whatever you think of the warehouse or the fruit dome or whatever type of adjective or description you would like to give that building and facility, a lot of good moments are usually created when you enter or are surrounded by that complex. A lot of wins, a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships, just positive, good moments. Maybe the aesthetics aren't to the liking of some of the billion-dollar ballparks nowadays, but you can still have a really good, positive, fruitful experience for sure.
Oh yeah, I know. And I like that he said, 25 years from being 10 to 35, like all of the things that happened to you in your personal life.
Yeah.
That somehow bled into that same, and the commonality is the Trop. I thought that was a very poignant message. So yeah,
and that's the thing. Giuseppe is kind of the type of person that the Rays are going after and trying to bank on for the new stadium. Is you have people that grew up watching the Devil Rays / Rays when they were 10, adolescents, teenagers, whatever it may be. Now they're adults. Now they're starting families, and that next generation, their kids, Giuseppe's kids, people like Giuseppe, their kids, hopefully grow up and start following the Rays, watching the Rays, becoming fans of the Rays, and getting all involved in what it is that they do.
This was my whole thesis, freshman year of college, public speaking class. Mr. Blake Paxton, you and I had
the greatest professor ever. Look up his ratings on Rate My Professor.
Dude was dope. Anyway, that was my whole argument from our thesis. Like, give it time, people. The Rays just need time to create that tradition, to create that fan base. And this is what we're getting. We're getting now 35-year-olds that might have kids that are taking their kids to the Trop. That's really, really cool.
Future YouTube discussion. Who is the best and worst professor at USF that you've encountered? I'd like to see some of those answers, and if we have any cross-pollination on that. We have more to dive into. Giuseppe's points there were really nice, and we do want to get to some other listener comments as well. But first, Ulises, we have to tell the audience about something extremely important.
Yes, we do. And that is that modern medical care and treatment are important, but our global supply chains can be fragile. Things like pandemics, we know about that. Natural disasters, we know about that. And foreign travel may cut you off from the treatment you need. Jase Medical is your solution. You just fill out their online form, and one of Jase Medical's board-certified physicians will review it to determine whether medications are safe and appropriate. Then Jase will send you prescriptions to one of their partner pharmacies, where your order will be filled and mailed directly to your home. You can also send your physician a message for answers to treatment-related questions at any time. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase case. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using our code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, at checkout at jasemedical.com. Again, code LOCKEDON at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com.
I'm kind of serious about the USF professor thing. If you want to list in the comments, the best and worst professors that you've ever encountered at the University of South Florida.
I would really find it awesome if a USF professor was a fan of Locked On Rays. That'd be really cool.
There we go. No, I certainly encountered some good ones. One that really actually could give a lot of insight into public financing of stadiums and the monstrosity that it is. Paul Porter, who was a marketing professor that I took there. But yeah, it just goes to show you that there's some professors or teachers through your learning experience that you can kind of rattle off the top of your head as memorable one way or the other. I try to remember the good ones. And there's a lot of others. There's a lot of replacement level professors and teachers, but the ones who really make an impact and stand above the rest, and you remember some of the things that they said or taught you or wisdom that they shared, they remember through adulthood. I had several teachers when I was a senior in high school that was like, man, I'm just eating up what they're giving me.
No,
so
yeah, they have war. They've got really good war. But yeah, some teachers are replacement level. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just like with anything as well. Yeah. Sports, other professions too, podcasters, whatever it may be. All right. So getting to some comments here from listeners, Charles McGregor, our buddy, says Taco Bus Park as a possible stadium name, especially if they were moving to Ybor. That's not happening, of course. And then he sees maybe perhaps Shane Baz on the roster come 2028. Ty McCann says he would love to see Tropicana Field 2, but Publix Park is the best sounding. He also mentioned the uniform sleeve advertisement. That is something that the Rays still have yet to sell or get an advertiser for. So I'm curious to see who that will be eventually. And I'm also curious to see, one, what the cost of the naming rights for the stadium will be and what the cost of the sleeve patch endorsement advertisement will be. I know I had mentioned several months ago that, it's not, whatever. It's a little patch. Who cares? But watching some other teams, there is a little bit of tackiness to it. I will say I do kind of like that al natural look. And then when you see, it kind of stands out, especially when you're watching on television. It's like, that's all I can focus on as opposed to the player.
They're not dumb. They're not dumb. They're like, hey, can you get us a close up of, it's like, it's very obvious.
Yeah, for sure. Michael Clark has 40-man power rankings for 2028. Josh Lowe, Curtis Mead, Jose Siri, Isaac Paredes, and full disclosure, we did this episode before the news of Junior Caminero getting the call up. So if I had to guess, he might be a strong candidate going forward.
Sure.
Noah Perdomo says Papa John's Park, baby. And then as far as 40-man possibilities long into the future, 2028, Curtis Mead, Taj Bradley, and a dark horse of Randy Arozarena. Man, that would be a long time for Randy to be in a Rays uniform. And then he also wants to throw out a reliever possibility because, Andrew Kittredge has been on the team since 2017. So sometimes, those middle relievers have a way of sticking on the roster. Kevin Kelly, perhaps, is what he threw out there. What else do we have? Robert Williams says Osleves Basabe will be playing in the new stadium. And then as far as a name, Bayside Park. I like the name, but Bayside isn't a major conglomerate or a corporation, if I recall. They're going to want some cash flow out of that. So maybe, Papa John's at Bayside Park or Bayside Papa John's Park. I don't know. Something like that.
I have a comment that says Boggs Burgers.
So I get the Bob's Burgers, but what? Oh, okay. Now I get it. Oh, man. Woo! Took me a second. It's morning, folks. Boggs Burgers. Well, I think Wade Boggs needs to open up a burger joint like the Wahlbergs and, maybe get it big enough to where you can sponsor the name of a stadium.
But, okay, wait, hold up. How about this? Just like a place inside Publix Park or whatever it's going to be called, of box burgers, but all the burgers are chicken.
I like that. That's a great idea. And I think that is something that the Rays should embrace and take advantage of. Something that other organizations have done is some of the names of the kiosk and the incubator spaces are names, or it's somehow tied or invested by former players of that particular team. So, Longo's Pizza, whatever,
Yeah.
But you get the idea. Boggs Burgers has a ring to it. And also the twist of all you do is sell chicken and beer. That's it.
Yes.
Maybe a chicken sandwich, but fried chicken, some sort of chicken options, and your old couple light beer options maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think Wade Boggs was drinking IPAs on plane flights.
No. And no. That's why you can drink hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So Longo has Ducky, so maybe that there's another Ducky situation there. I'd like that. The same, I think Jerry said also Publix Park, pub subs, Cubans, coffee, and a Rays touch tank relocation. I don't know if you noticed, but in the renderings, there's actually 2 little pools by center field. So what does that
smart.
mean? Yeah.
I mean, you are on the bay, so you should probably incorporate multiple water elements if you have the chance. Nick says McDonald's Field. I don't think that would happen. It's got to be a little bit more localized, perhaps. Dex Imaging Field, perhaps. That's what one of the listeners has thrown out there.
I've got Jason Gaines saying Geico Park. If you look at many of the giveaways, in particular the bobbleheads, Geico is a big sponsor for that. And you can call it Good Greek Moving and Storage Field.
Yeah, we do hear and see a lot of Good Greek Moving and Storage advertisements. Cody Robbins is a joke here. 2001 Space Odyssey Stadium. If you know, maybe on the Tampa side, that could have been a possibility. Think about some of the giveaways and the promotions that could be tied with that if you had the ballpark named after that. No, I don't think Space Odyssey or the Downtown Strip Club Alliance is going to be anywhere found on the new stadium. Jack Voorhees mentions Royal Caribbean as being a possible sponsor, maybe a patch or the name of a jersey or on the jersey. And then John says Morgan & Morgan, something with Morgan & Morgan Law Firm for the People Stadium, something to that effect. So a lot of fun options out there. I would just also note, some of the bigger corporations in the area, like Raymond James. You already have Raymond James Stadium, so that's probably not happening. But Bloomin' Brands, Mosaic, Citigroup, Advent Health, some sort of pharmaceutical company, Jabil, K-Force, Marine Max. There's a lot of possibilities out there. And I would I'm really, really curious about is what the price tag is for that exclusivity and the brand awareness. What's it going to cost a company to slap their name on the stadium and to slap their name on everybody's jersey?
Wait, isn't Tropicana Field? Isn't this? I think it was public knowledge, or maybe I'm just making this up from like the Mandela effect. If you don't know about the Mandela effect, you lose 10 minutes of your life today Googling Mandela effect, and then your mind will be blown. Isn't it $25 million a year?
Per year or for the entirety of the...
No, a year, I think. Or is that just...
That sounds high for how long, unless they restructured the deal. But I think the $25 million sounds about right for a new stadium nowadays.
Right, yeah. I don't think in 98 it would have cost that. But right now, that seems like a fair price to be called something.
And think about, and if I were the Rays, I'd really take advantage of the idea that this isn't just going to be used for 81 home games and select playoff games, but they have ideations on a lot of other events, concerts, banquets, ceremonies. They're going to be in that sweet spot of larger than Ameline Arena, but smaller than Raymond James. So you can bring those types of acts and just have another facility in another location that can be taken advantage of. So
T-Swift.
that I think is going to be a windfall as well in that respect. If you have, I don't know, Taylor Swift, I know she sells out Raymond James, but big acts like that come to town. Hey, coming to whatever the name of the ballpark is.
Yeah, that should be really fun. Again, they want all year round. So yeah, that should be like a, I don't know where I got the 25 mil from. Maybe it was another team that got a 25 mil.
I mean, that sounds about right per year nowadays.
Maybe I'm thinking Patches, the star insurance from the Yankees. I don't know, something like that. It was 25 mil. But check me on the comments if you know where I got that $25 million figure from. Please let us know down in the comments. And again, thank you so much for feeding the comments on YouTube on every video. We read them all. Yes. Trust us. We read them all. We try to reply to as many as we can. And you're going to make it on the show like you just saw today. So keep doing that. We really appreciate it. And we really like the community, the niche feel that we have created through this platform. So we really want to thank you all.
Yeah, and if you're a professor, give us a shout out too. We'd or give us a comment or an email, and we'll give you a shout out. We may or may not look at your ratings on Rate My Professor, but regardless, we might have a little fun with that as well. So thank you all for your interaction and discussion. Made this a fun episode. So, and hope you all enjoyed too. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.